Hello and welcome to Eastenders Weekly, your weekly podcast all about EastEnders. This week we'll be discussing episodes from the 23rd to the 27th of April. I'm Ben and I'm once again joined by Alex.
A fate worse than death, being joined by me.
Yes. 11 weeks now and you're still here.
I'm still here like a bad rash. I'm still here. You just can't scratch me off.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a bit of an up week this week. Shall we listen to the...
lots going on.
Yeah, bit quick audio recap?
Go ahead.
It's the only thing that'll settle him. London town. We hustle, but the struggle ain't over now. Good morning, sunshine.
Sharon is out spending his money.
You what? Power of the Wolford Whisper.
I'll put the kettle on.
You having a laugh?
You silly girl.
I can put a white dress on, don't make me a virgin, does it?
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Hello?
Vincent, come home, please.
Sharon?
I still can't believe that you actually married that.
What have I done to deserve this? You're acting like a pair of cats.
Go hard or go home.
Loving the armband. Chocolate finger, jammy ring.
You know, it could get a whole lot sexier.
These things are very hot right now.
It's not me that can't resist the ginger.
Neither does Jesus.
Well, ring for one more. Tech, someone with a bulldozer to get in here now.
It's stabbing my brain. Stop! I've done this section.
Looks like someone's nicked your saddle off your bike.
Step in a crack, break your mother's back.
Well, he didn't answer, so I had a nice long nap.
No one would be that stupid.
Ooh, juicy.
What a week.
What a week it's been.
One of the first weeks in a while where no characters have left. So
No one's died.
it's
No
all
one's
looking
left.
good.
Yeah, it's all on the up. Not to say that won't happen in the near future.
No. I did see a photo today of someone filming a funeral, so...
Yes, you came...
Oh, dear.
There was screaming in the lounge and I was like, what's wrong?
So maybe start this week, left off last week, talking about obviously Vincent's now gone missing and poor Kim's been left all alone.
Yes, I know. It's not really been fair on Kim because this fate has not really been her fault, really. I mean, you know, we know that money was tight and they had to tighten up their belts a little bit, and I think Kim had good intentions to do that. She wanted to get one job, didn't she? Well, yeah, she applied for one job, and but she, you know, her spending habits were questionable at best. But then on Monday, she was basically spending the day in a dressing gown, feeling a bit sorry for herself, phoning Vincent, trying to find out where he was, wanting some answers.
His mailbox is full now.
Yes, no, can't leave any more messages now.
No. And she rearranged the furniture in her house just to keep herself a bit busy.
Yeah, she was trying to keep herself occupied, wasn't she? After she begged in one of the mailbox messages to Vincent for him to come home, which was a really gut-wrenching moment, really.
He ain't coming home.
Well, he's not coming home immediately, but
At all.
That's for another yet another deep debate. Perhaps there's something we could talk about. On that could be a podcast for itself, really. If you had an
EastEnders
extra.
debate.
An EastEnders debate about Vincent. Was he killed or was he just asked to leave for a little while?
So Kim is trying her best. She's found some letters in the post, hasn't she, about Vincent, saying that he's got like a CCJ and he owes money. So she knows that things are quite serious now.
Yes, well, yeah. She basically got the gist of exactly how much in debt they really were, and so it was amazingly she just then at that moment thought, well, perhaps I should sell something of value.
Well, luckily she found something of value recently.
Well, she found that last week, didn't she? She found the ring and the DVD player whilst putting on a Peppa Pig DVD, but she just decided to wear it rather than keep it safe or do something useful with it. Which,
well, sometimes the safest place for jewellery is on your finger.
Well, it's in plain sight, isn't it? Yes,
Yeah.
I suppose you're quite right.
But she did longingly look at that shop that we rarely see in EastEnders set.
The pawn shop.
Yeah, for your gold, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, pawn your gold. Well, if when Denise was in a similar situation to her
yeah,
sister,
she went there, didn't she?
No,
with
she
her-
didn't. She
Oh,
went to
didn't.
she went to a stall.
Oh.
She went to a stall, and because she sold off her big D.
Yeah, her D necklace.
Her big
And
D.
it wasn't even real. No, all her other jewellery wasn't real, and that was the only one.
But that was
real,
anything
wasn't
of value. And
Yeah.
wasn't it Kim that bought it back for her?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so perhaps Denise will buy when that council job starts ringing in the money.
it? That's like £25,000.
Well,
I don't think the D was that much. Worth that much.
Denise's D is very important to her. She needs the D. So
Well, her D's in Dubai at the moment.
yeah, so quite rightly so, she not Denise, Kim decided to sell off, and she basically paid off
yeah, the
credit
card,
cards and all of her debts, like through payments and so on and so forth. So I imagine
easily solved.
that was solved, but I imagine that the problem now is with the house. So she, not much really happened other than that on the Monday episode.
No.
So on the Tuesday episode, she kind of decided to up sticks and leave and make excuses for why she was going to live with Denise for a little while.
And she packed all her bags, didn't she? She had like 10 suitcases.
Well, yeah, she said that Pearl missed her auntie, and that Pearl really, really wanted to have a sleepover. And then next shot was of the front door with what was like 20 suitcases of clothing, and Denise was taken a bit aback of, it's just a sleepover.
How long?
How long is this sleepover lasting for? Won over by Kim's suggestion that perhaps they could have a bit of a dance party.
Yes.
Which was quite good fun. It was nice to hear a bit of was it 5-star System Addict? Lovely. Brought back the years there, listening to that being played while Denise shook her boot.
I mean, there's no reason she can't move in because it's a B&B, or used to be a B&B.
It used to be a B&B. It's not a B&B
I'm
anymore.
sure there's lots of rooms now.
I mean, who owns that house? Is it
Must be
Denise?
Patrick.
It's Patrick,
Yeah,
isn't it?
It's Patrick's place.
So really, it's only polite that he should have been informed that Kim was moving in. But
He's always away. Every time Kim or Denise have money issues, he's always away
Yes,
in
he is.
Trinidad.
Inconspicuously. He's always avoiding any kind of deeper issue with his two daughters. I mean, again, that's a spin-off in itself. If the BBC were to make it, you could see Patrick's adventures with the boying, because I genuinely want to know.
Well,
Because
a bit like Death in Paradise, but with Patrick.
Patrick's off to
Solving
investigate murders.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I mean, he was only meant to go away for a couple of weeks. I didn't think it was meant to.
Well, he's obviously having a good time with De Boying.
But how much money does Patrick have?
No, De Boying paid for this trip.
Oh, I suppose she did, didn't she?
Yeah,
but I don't know. There's only so
Miss
much
Trinidad 1969. She's got a lot of money.
There's only so much hospitality before it becomes rude.
So Kim obviously is dancing away at Denise's house.
Yes, Denise, Kim, and Pearl are having a
They
party.
get through one dance each before they're out of breath.
Yeah, to an old classic. And Denise is like, "Off you go, Pearl. Make your aunt a nice cup of tea. Go play with the kettle."
We've got a serious talk to go down.
We got serious talk to do.
I quite liked this scene with Denise and Kim. Like, there wasn't any secrets or arguing or trying to find the gossip, because Denise was quite understanding, and she said, "Okay, just tell me what you want us to say, and I won't say any more." So I thought that was quite nice.
No, I agree. I mean, like last week, Denise was really offhand and not very helpful at all toward Kim, and we said that really Denise didn't know the extent of the problems, but when Denise was in a problem which was similar to that, then Kim was very helpful and always tried to help out. In fact, she gave her a job, which I suppose cleaning for her house, wasn't it? and wasn't it babysitting? Being
live-in
a nanny,
babysitter,
live-in nanny for Pearl, and then when that happened, Denise realised she couldn't live with Kim. So I don't know how long this arrangement's going to last.
They're changed. They've done their DNA tests and they're stronger.
They're stronger than
and
before.
More understanding of each other now.
I think Denise is more proud, so she takes offence to things much more quicker than perhaps Kim does. So I think Kim would be more open to having this generosity given to her. I mean, when they sat down and Denise looked over, after Pearl had scalded herself with tea, she looked over Kim's shoulder to see what she was doing, and it was a list of her assets of what could
All her
potentially get her a
positive
job.
assets, wasn't it?
Well, only positive assets. As I say, Kim's always looking at the brighter side, and they were, she doesn't interrupt people, even though when she said that she interrupted Denise, and she has a very friendly persona, and she put down jobs which she thought she could potentially do. One of them being a dental nurse, which, I mean, she's got good teeth. So she's got that gunning for her.
Why not?
She can give that a go, and she could probably blast those water hoses onto the teeth to get rid of the staining. So it's a good little
Possibly.
job.
But Denise brought her a bit back down to reality, didn't she?
Well, she said she had to, in order to get these very high paid, very overqualified jobs, you have to really go to school. And again, Kim was under the illusion, I'm presuming because her 5-year-old or 4-year-old daughter is soon to go to school, that she just gets free education too. Because
in the UK.
Yeah, which is not true. Kim would not get free education, and Denise was kind of like, but again, I think Kim knew this. Kim knew that she couldn't get that job as a dental nurse. Kim knew that she's not overly qualified. She's not going to get this education given to her. She's not going to have this handed to her on a plate. But because Vincent always almost mothered her or looked after her, this was very alien to Kim. And this was something that was quite, because she was so terrified and so scared of this situation and what had happened, I think she didn't really want to face the reality of it. And so writing this list of positives, thinking that she could do all these things, was her way of...
That's how she sees the world, isn't it? Only positive.
Only positive. But then it's her way of coping with the situation. She's not yet... I don't want to use the term grieved, because she shouldn't be grieving for Vincent just yet. But I think she needs time to grieve.
She's grieving the loss of the relationship.
The relationship, absolutely. And so, I mean, another thing to bring up is that she's not telling. She's keeping it very, apart from with Denise, she's keeping the Vincent leaving her a secret.
He's away on business.
He's away on business. The reason she's not living in the house is because there was a gas leak. When Jack came in and bulldozed his ideals, like, I've got homes round here. She was like, Carmen.
Why did he go to Kim to find out though? Just because Carmel heard it from Kim. Why didn't he call the council? Why did he?
Or the gas board.
I'm going to see Kim. She's the
source
of this gossip.
I mean, Mel was concerned too, because Mel walked in to the Queen Vic while I can't remember who they were talking to now. Oh, it was Max. They were talking to Max because Max was trying to organise something, which we'll get to in a minute. And
I mean, Max is back.
Have you been watching? And Mel was concerned about the gas leak too. But yes, Jack decided to do what he always does, and that's bully beef his weight around and demand answers to quite a simple solution.
And the source of all gossip,
Carmel. Well, yes, because Carmel was like, you didn't see the scene, but Carmel was wondering why Kim had turned up on Denise's door, and it's like, well, Carmel, it's not your business.
Yeah, go look after your sons who haven't been seen for like 6 months.
Mysteriously, one that got a new job and then went on holiday for a very, very long time. Yes. So after Kim's list of personal beauty traits, she then decided to have a nap on the sofa. And again, it was such a sad scene, such a sad realization by Kim that Denise sees the piece of paper that she wrote the list crumpled up next to her, and she unravels it. And
it was all scribbled out, wasn't it?
Well, it was just voided, wasn't it? And she just then wrote all the negatives on there.
Useless.
Loser or loser.
I can't remember what else she said.
Spelling, she should have put in there, really.
But I mean, Denise left a little present. Oh, did she?
She put ugly, alone, or alone.
Worthless. I'm just making things up now.
Should we think of words for Kim? But yes, Denise.
She left a little gift for her, though. A little name tag.
Which she did because then the following day, so it's been quite a slow train ride for old Kim. Like, not a lot's happened in a short space of time.
A minute mark name tag was left for her.
Well, then, she got to the top of the roller coaster and then she went down screaming back into reality. So Denise dropped off Pearl at the school gates, complained because they were extra vigilant, the fact that it wasn't Kim or Vincent dropping them off. Which I think...
Well, there's a kidnapper on the loose.
No, that's true. That's
true.
Why. There was a kidnapper.
Have you not been watching?
and so Denise says, look, you need to get out of this funk. You
This
need
2-day funk.
Yes. Well, not
Coming
even
from
2 days.
Denise, who spent the whole summer in a funk.
Boiling pasta for a very long time. You know, I think you need to pull up your socks and get yourself a job. Oh, by the way, I've already sorted you out with a job. I called an old buddy.
I don't know how she got that sorted so quickly.
Well, she's friends, isn't she, with the owner of the Minute Mart company.
Oh, what, Yolandi?
Yeah, she phoned Yolandi direct on her direct line.
It's like a national company. You can't just turn up for a job.
No, she didn't even turn up. She didn't even go for
Well,
an
yeah, I
interview.
know. Exactly. That's what I mean.
She was just given the job, and she wasn't even given an official badge. She was just given, as you said, she had a badge that Denise had crudely made with a piece of masking tape over her name.
Maybe she got Pearl to make it as a project.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Let's
Keeps
think
Pearl
of that.
busy.
Yeah.
It keeps Pearl busy. She needs to stop because Pearl keeps walking in randomly saying "daddy" to random objects.
Oh, I love that little actress. She's so sweet.
She's fantastic. It's like some of the things they get her to do.
Mm.
Like when quickly backtracking, when they were back at their old house, and she went boo, and went all boo to you, Pearl. And then Kim lifted her up, and she started pointing at, I think they were turtles, like turtle fridge magnets, and she was going, "Mummy, Daddy, me, Mummy's Daddy," and it was like, how do you get a 3-year-old, 4-year-old child to do that? It's remarkable.
Smart cookie.
It's a smart cookie. You keep your eyes on her.
So, how did Kim get on with her first day at the Minute Mart then? Did it go down well?
Well, first of all, she decided to turn up late because she wanted to have a long steam and shower.
20 minutes.
But although, again, she came out that shower and, like, I don't know how she just came out with just a dressing gown and like a head towel on, and it was just like, have you had a shower? Was it 20 minutes, or did you just sit in the bathroom crying? So she
Let's not speculate.
No, so she turned up late, and Honey, we've seen Honey like this before when she gets.
Yeah, she gets a bit power mad, doesn't she?
Oh, she does, Honey.
When Derek worked there,
she pushes her weight around. I wouldn't like to be under the management of Honey.
No,
by any
like
stretch.
Smiling assassin.
Yes, she is. She really is. So Kim walks in wearing like very inappropriate clothing for a job in a little.
It wasn't that. Well, it wasn't appropriate, but Honey's isn't exactly the most appropriate. She's like in dungarees and like a yellow woolen sweater.
But would you wear? I think Honey's point was, would you wear your best clothes? I suppose maybe they weren't.
They weren't Kim's
for
best.
Kim. I was going to say for Kim, then she's got better probably. But would you wear something like that on a job where you're going to be then, which she was proceeding to defrost a freezer? The freezer section, incidentally, should be mentioned.
I've never seen that before. Now I know why.
But that's because it's a little corner fridge
that holds like 2 ice creams,
2 tubs of vanilla, and a pot of Neapolitan. So with an ice scraper that you use for a car, Kim started. I'm presuming that's something that they sell at the Minute Mart. And they've just written off as an expense, if Yolandi allows it for her multi-million corporate world. Then she starts scraping off the fridge, and then people start walking in and basically, which is what always happens in EastEnders, weren't minding their own business. So they were asking Kim, "Oh, Kim, strange seeing you here."
Donna comes in, doesn't she?
Well, Donna starts rolling in, and she goes to the counter and buys some mints. So perhaps someone's told her she's got a little bit of a problem with her breath.
Oh, mints.
Mints.
I thought you said mints. Like
no,
mince
not
meat.
mints. Yeah. She ate it raw from the packet.
No, she has to keep her breath fresh
she does.
for Robbie.
Oh, is her and Robbie still a thing?
I'm assuming.
They don't really show. The last time they've ever shown a scene with them together was
when Robbie turned up last week, whenever it was, I forgot he was even in it.
Well, yeah, I suppose
he's so like.
Well, he's a bit of a, I don't know, a mid-card, isn't
character.
he? Well, he's a mid-card character now, isn't he? He just kind of pops in and out every now and then. I'm sure we'll mention Robbie throughout and not even remember we mentioned it. I mean, so like I say, her and
Robbie.
Yeah, the last thing they spent together was when they were setting up the par for Cat's return for Cat's memorial. So what? That was 7-8 weeks ago. Flies by.
They're obviously not clingy couple.
No, well, an open relationship. It's a very fluid,
But she was concerned about Vincent's welfare, wasn't she? And she's phoned the lovely Claudette.
Yes, Miss Claudette.
Yeah, which I don't think she has a chance of coming back anymore.
No, she dead.
Well, not dead, no, but because Vincent's left and
maybe
no
she
more
killed
ties
Vincent.
to her.
There was a scene we didn't see, and she came like up in front of the windscreen.
Such a shame. She was so cool. But she phoned her and said, I have a feeling Kim and Vincent are broken up.
Yes.
She got it straight away, switched on.
Well, yes, but Honey said apparently Vincent has gone
he's on a job,
for business, and Kim was like, "What are you talking about? Apparently, how dare you, Honey?" Threw the ice pick into the little freezer, and then stormed off. And then so maybe that could be.
Maybe Vincent's safe and he's at Claudette's.
Well, yes, so we don't know that. But again, no one answers their phones. Why do you have a phone if you don't answer it? So she left an answer phone for Claudette.
Well, Claudette might be dead because the day before Vincent left, Donna said to Vincent, "Mum's not turned up to meet me."
Oh yes, I forgot about that. So, so maybe Claudette's been taken by Aidan as a I don't know, as a hostage of some sort. So, which would then push strongly into the case that maybe Vincent's still alive, and they're using him for some kind of greater deed in a year's time for his return. Christmas.
Who knows? So Kim storms out of her first day of work after about an hour and goes home again, and the lovely Honey somehow leaves the shop as well. Empty. I'm not sure.
Oh dear. I mean, they always get people to watch their store for them. So
yeah, but this is an actual shop.
Yes. Again, Landy needs to be informed of these decisions. I don't know how many staff they have working in that small shop. They always tend to have two on. So
like the brown-haired extra girl. I think she works there sometimes.
Yeah, she works there occasionally.
Maybe she stepped in to cover lunch.
Well, yes. Maybe Honey phoned up and said, could you cover a shift for me or cover me for an hour? And she came in. I mean, they all seem to live quite locally to the place, so easy to get in. Who knows? But
Kim and Honey was having a bit of a heart-to-heart. She was trying to get to what was wrong with Kim.
The crux of the matter, yes. But I don't think Kim still didn't really open up to her. She
tried to compare it to her and Billy and didn't really go anywhere, did it?
No, I mean, Honey was right to compare it. I say it's very similar. Billy hasn't been kidnapped and thought
Vincent didn't
dead.
cheat on her.
No, and yes, Vincent didn't cheat on her, but the same kind of fact that Honey kind of said, she felt isolated, she felt alone when Billy and her split up, and she still had to get up every morning and work because of her kids. And Pearl was at Denise's house looking at the photo of Pearl, took a deep breath and thought, I'm going to have to get on with things. I can't just not work. I can't just rest on my laurels and hope that Vincent returns, because it's not going to happen. And so admitted defeat almost, and said, which was quite kind of Honey. She said, right, I'm going to have my lunch and I'll meet you back in the minute, Mark. And Honey could have quite easily said, no, put on your tarp and get back to the shop, you lazy, lazy moo. So Denise came home though, just as Honey was leaving. And Denise, because obviously Denise has got Carmel's old job, so she can just leave her desk.
Do what she wants.
Just leave her desk and go for a wander around the square whenever she feels free to. And basically reaffirmed with Kim that, this is it. This is the position you're in now. You need to get on with it. Get real. I like that. Many 80s references too so far this episode.
So that was really where Kim was left off of her lovely story.
Yes, so we're gonna see Kim, I guess, continuing working at the mini mart and seeing. I'm sure there'll be
hilarious results.
I was gonna say, I'm sure there's gonna be a few comedy moments coming up now with Kim, just to lighten the mood. But I've got the feeling that the Kim storyline could get a bit darker.
Yes, well, she was on the One Show recently.
The One Show is hardly a dark.
No, but she said that Kim's upcoming storyline is very dark.
Yes, which is where we get the impression. The One Show is like a kind
depression. Is Kim gonna have depression?
Do you reckon that's where it's gonna head?
I don't know. That's dark.
Well, it is dark, but
who knows? We'll have to wait.
I mean,
see.
there's many characters that could get depression at the moment.
All of them.
It's quite. It's like when was the Great Depression? Like 1910. It's happening
1985 when EastEnders started.
Oh yeah, true.
So from one dark storyline to another dark storyline, we had a child kidnapping storyline this week.
Quite, yes.
With our new character from last week, hiding under the stairs.
Yes. So the plot was bubbling from Friday when we were first introduced, as we talked about the new character Bijan, it was naive of us to think he was going to be perhaps a nice character. As you quite pointed out,
I said he wasn't.
He had quite a few of the characteristics as well. Mm-hmm. He had the tattooed neck, tattoo. Of a shaved head. It was pretty much the path was set for him, wasn't it? It was laid.
So we started up the week with the news that baby Harley was off to see his half brother on like an arranged social care visit.
Yes, they have these visits apparently where they meet their real family, just so they can get to so they're not feeling like they're completely out of the loop, because presumably the half brother isn't adopted; it's actually with the real family. I didn't really get that information.
He's adopted as well.
Oh, he's adopted. Okay, lovely.
So they would come to meet in a mutual place
in the white room with toys.
Yes,
right.
It's not far from the truth.
No.
And we were also introduced to another new character at this sort of time, which is the mum of Harley.
The mum, so Chloe. Yes. So she obviously
was wandering around the square just like her boyfriend was last week.
Just like Bijan. Yes, well she's obviously been given the information now to where she can find her baby Harley. And so she works out where they live, and so comes up with a plan to hopefully get to meet the adopters and also her baby again.
Yes, because she's walking around trying to find where she sees Ahmed come out of the house, doesn't she? So she knows where he lives.
Yes,
and she, I don't know what she does. Does she beat herself up?
Well, you don't see that, but I would imagine.
I thought it was fake to begin with because it looked so bad.
It didn't. Yeah, it wasn't the best.
The continuity on that episode was really bad. But apparently it was a real injury to her face.
I mean, it would have been nice to have seen how she. Not to sound sadistic, not to sound like I'm.
Maybe she got a boyfriend to hit her.
No, because her boyfriend wasn't there at that time. And when she first arrived, she was fine. So presumably she knocked her head against a wall or whacked herself with a plank of wood or something.
Maybe
like
she was mean to Mel and Mel slapped her.
Yes.
Who knows?
That's not
we can only theorise.
You can only theorise.
So she then sort of on purpose bumped into him. And
yes, accidentally on purpose.
Yeah, and wanted some help but didn't want to phone the police.
Yes,
they wouldn't help.
Well, it wasn't just Arshad who first took an interest in her problem. Martin stepped in from the fruit and veg store, and he was suggesting all these things, and she kept coming up with an excuse why she couldn't do that. So, we could pop into the Queen Vic. Oh no, I don't want to do that. And we found. Well, she lied and said that she had her mobile phone stolen by some teenage kids.
And she just wanted to like freshen up in the bathroom and go. So
yeah, she just wanted to
she wanted to get into his house, didn't she? Basically,
but yes,
to find her baby, which she did. She got into the house.
She did, but
he invited her over.
But there was no baby to be found.
No,
because obviously it'd been gone.
There was a toy that she stole.
But there was like a rattle, which and she also then spotted that they had a CCTV system.
Yeah, it was just on the laptop in front of her.
Yeah, all six
at all times,
all 6 screens being checked out. So, I think she was kind of scoping the house, I think, for what was ultimately going to happen. And she wanted to befriend Arshad and just kind of get to know a little bit more about Harley through him. God, baby Aiden. Goodness
Not yet.
Ooh. Oh, is that a spoiler?
No, but like no one's ready for that yet.
Mel's baby. And yeah, she was just kind of pushing for information all the time from Arshad. And then Masood came in and was a bit like, oh, who are you? And she was, oh, yeah, sorry. And Arshad kind of explained again what had happened. And
then the baby came back early.
His
half-brother didn't turn up.
No.
To see him.
Which really upset Arshad actually quite heavily. He wasn't very happy about that, which is fair enough. He's gone through so much, and he quite rightly said, that was quite a long trip for you to just be disappointed. Although I don't think the baby minded. I think it was just
he
a
wouldn't
nice.
know what's going on.
He probably fell asleep in the car with his grime.
She got to hold him, didn't she?
Yes, because he went off.
Didn't really like it.
Well, no, she did. She said,
but
she said, "Hello, I missed you."
Yeah,
and because he went off to make a cup of tea, and when he came back, he was kind of. Arshad was settling the baby again, and she was asking him a few questions about how is little Harley and Arshad mentions that Harley will let you know if she's upset, and also, she likes grime music.
Yeah, grime.
And starts singing words from, like some grime music.
Like
I really
an
liked
acoustic
that.
version of a grime song.
I thought it was really cool. I wish someone would put that to music, because I thought that was fantastic. I really liked it. And she was like, "Oh, I'm not really a fan of grime. I like a bit of Michael Bublé and Ed Sheeran."
Not a very good liar.
Well, she's not a good liar, because then as soon as she said that, her mobile phone went off.
Yeah,
which
not
was
even on
apparently-
silent.
No, or vibrate.
No. So her stolen phone went off.
Her stolen phone went off with grime music playing.
Yes. So she quickly exited then, didn't she?
Well, she made her excuses.
Bit embarrassed.
She made her excuses and left. And that was all she wrote, or so we thought.
Mm.
And then Tuesday, the day of reckoning came about. So,
well, that's when all the CCTV was like getting turned off in the night.
The episode began. Again, they kept their laptop open conveniently for us to see.
It's like a horror film.
Yeah, and one by one, the CCTV system was going click, 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 click. I mean, it was quite professionally done. It was almost like Ocean's 11 style. Well, it wasn't a they, it was a him. It was just Bijan. How did he get to every single camera and click them, click them,
with
click
no
them?
seat, like without being seen.
I know. He must have hacked the mainframe.
He must have done it before.
With many of his children.
So, Ahmed, what's his name? Ahmed? Not Ahmed.
No, Bijan.
No, the...
Arshad.
Too many names. I can't do it. Arshad was getting quite nervous over this, so he... under Masood's advice, phoned the police, and that also then got the social workers involved.
Yes, they were a bit suspicious that this was happening.
And for the first time, we had a character who was actually quite intelligent here,
yes.
who actually put two and two together, because he was talking to the social worker.
Also, if you had missed the Friday and the Monday episode, Arshad also quite helpfully summed up the whole situation.
Trying to take our job away from him.
It was like he was doing his own podcast. He helpfully summed up the whole information back to Masood, who had been there the whole time anyway, so he would have known what's been going on. For the audience, it was honestly, it was to the word perfect of what's been happening this past week.
Reading the TV guide.
Yeah. What's been happening this? It's like I expected him to say something about Sharon and Phil at some point, like what's been happening this week with Sharon and Phil.
But he was sort of asking questions about Harley's mum and dad, wasn't he? And the dad's an ex-con, and he's had multiple offences.
Yes, the social worker turned up, and again, quite smart and switched on. They were like going, "Oh, the only way they could have found out was if they'd seen you or put something on social media." And it's like, and Arshad had just said that earlier. It's like never saw Arshad as being like a kind of social media gremlin, but he really was. So yes, Arshad said, "Okay, fair enough. Have you got any pictures of the parents?" And so she shows him a picture of the dad, and he's like, "Oh no, what about the mum?" And then she shows him the picture of the mum, and it all clicks into place.
Very good, very clever. Worked out straight away. And then they's like, right, Harley has to go into care, emergency care.
Yes, it was,
but
wasn't it?
Not right now, tomorrow. So
I'm going to make the phone call straight away.
There's a whole night where this baby could go missing, but it's very unlikely that this will happen.
It was like watching Night Trap.
So Masood and Arshad take it in turns to do an all-night shift of watching the CCTV.
Yes. Well, no CCTV. They were just
got
staying
it fixed, didn't they? Because Masood was... Oh, was he just staying awake with a baseball bat?
No, they were just staying awake. Because Masood came back in, and because Arshad was talking to Mariam, and...
you're on the phone.
On the phone.
She's disappeared again.
Well, she's gone on holiday.
She's the new Joyce.
Yeah. She's repairing some clothes for people, and he told her that he got a proper repair person in, but it wasn't. It was Masood.
Yeah.
And then Masood came in and shouted at the top of his voice, "Oh, some of them have been damaged, like being hit and destroyed. So we're going to be waiting days before we can get those fixed." So the CCTV system was never fixed. Like CCTV has a lot to explain these past couple of weeks on EastEnders, like the Hunter incident. Now this,
It's too easily hacked.
Too easily. And so they stay up. So
so Masood was doing like the night shift.
Well, Masood had put up a padlock on the back door. So that
really
was
flimsy one.
Yeah, so that was enough. That was enough to stop anyone from getting into the house. But little did they know when they switched off the light for Masood to start. Well, no, it wasn't Masood who started. It was Arshad who did the first stint, and he took his cocoa, just what you need to stay awake, and walked down the hallway into the lounge. And when he turned the kitchen and hallway light off, you saw there was a light coming out from underneath the door into the cellar. And who's been there the whole time? The cheeky little monkey.
A man with a full phone battery and an empty bottle. Well,
a flask. Yes, it was the dad, Bijan, all the time. So yes, worryingly, he's in the house already.
I don't know how he got in the house. They never showed.
Well, it was before Masood had put the padlock on. So
must be.
And Albert Square is the only place in the whole of London, nay, the whole of the United Kingdom, where people leave their back doors unlocked. So you can just walk in and out as you will.
So that must be when I was thinking when Masood was doing the night shift, because he's looking on Instagram because he's really bored. And he comes across a 14, 15-year-old girl's Instagram.
Yes.
Does he follow Tiffany, do you think?
He follows Tiffany. He follows Shrimpy. He followed, I presume it was the flower woman, because he saw a picture of a woman holding flowers, looking all happy.
I wonder if there's a hint in there that Shrimpy and her, because they're having an affair, aren't they?
Well, I asked, if someone's listening to this who's a writer, I asked them to do a secret storyline in the background with Shrimpy and the affair. Is this the beginning? Next week we may do a topic about Shrimpy and the affair
and the flower girl.
And the flower girl, if it gets mentioned. It'll be on the mopping up section. You keep your ears open.
So he obviously saw that Tiffany posted a photo tagged of baby Harley, so he was very upset with that.
Yes, and she literally tagged it, #Harley, #Tiffany, #, Albert Square, #, the Masood,
# adopted.
yeah.
So then there was a very short split second where he heard something behind him.
He heard a door slam behind him.
Yeah. So this all happened very quickly, this kidnap.
Well, yeah, so
quietly.
Yeah, so
he's obviously very light on his feet.
You said before he might have done it before with one of his many children. Bijan had come out from the set door to the cellar, gone along, and then went to about halfway up the stairs.
Yeah,
you have to remember these houses are very old, so you would think there'd be a lot of creaky wood and stuff. But anyway, so Masood then runs to the front door with his baseball bat. Which again is...
Did he borrow that from Phil?
I was about to say, baseball bats are now... someone just sell baseball bats on the market.
Or just a market store of baseball
bats. Baseball bats and CDs. Winston could do it.
Yeah.
And he looks... Bizarrely, he looks out the letterbox. Like he's expecting someone to maybe... flubber come through the letterbox or something, I don't know, and then looks up the stairs and he can't see anything. So yes, as you quite rightly said, Bijan must have sneaked really quietly along the hallway up the stairs without disturbing Ashad.
Yeah, and come back down and exit.
Then come back down and exit. But you didn't get to that point until a bit later in the day where...
Yeah, they phoned that it just cuts to them with the police round.
No, Ashad wakes up Masood. So Masood fell asleep. So he failed on his watch as well.
Oh.
And he had Ashad had made a bottle of formula for Harley. Again, not checking on Harley. This thing that they knew is a big deal that Harley could be.
If only Miriam was home.
I know, she's the only sensible one there. She would have been fine. She would have sat outside Harley's bedroom door with the baseball bat, wrapped in barbed wire, ready. Oh no, yeah, she'd be there, ready for vengeance. And so when Masood goes upstairs, he shouts, "Chachi!" And then the police... Well, then Kathy notices that there's
something going on.
Kathy always notices, doesn't she?
Yeah.
It's like her job at the cafe.
Is her character's job.
Yeah. She's got to be useful for something.
To tell everyone in the cafe that something's going on.
Something happening over the road.
Everyone leave the cafe and go look at it.
Yeah. Don't forget to pay. So they get pretty much the whole police force of Walford. I know,
they were there.
A lot of force there.
It's all good.
Yeah, they're very busy, and they start, getting one of those brushes and mopping it down for fingerprints. And there's a woman with a walkie-talkie in the background saying things to someone on it. There's and then there's some guy...
a bottle of someone's urine.
And then some guy walks in and is like, "We found this." And it's like, a full bottle. It's like, my goodness, he
was quite hydrated though.
He must have been hydrated for the night. Yeah, he settled right in. Perhaps he had downloaded some movies off Netflix on his mobile phone. And and they found this pretty much a litre bottle of urine. And so they were like, "Oh, I know what's happened here. He hid in your house."
Yeah.
It's like, really?
So the couple were on the run around Wolford, trying to find an exit.
Well, originally the police and the detective thought that he'd be long gone by now, but then you discovered that they've gone to Mitchell Motors.
Yeah,
Mitchell
with a car
Autos.
as well, like all official.
With a car.
Really weird.
But the garage doors were closed, and they asked Keanu to fix the car. I mean, the car didn't look that old,
No.
so you think it
Do
would
you
have
think
been
Keanu's
fine.
up to his dodgy behind the scenes?
Or trying to get a little bit extra money behind
Yeah.
Phil's back,
But
perhaps.
he sees a bag on the front of this thing, doesn't he? And sees drugs in the
Well, yes,
car.
a bag of brown, as it's
Mm.
later referenced, and yeah.
So
and-
luckily, clever Keanu's not being too dumb this episode.
I mean, Keanu, bless
He
him.
sort of works it out quite quick and
He-
thinks, no,
Yeah, something's not right here.
give you a few hours so I can call the police.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So he says it's going to take an hour for them to fix the brake or whatever it was,
Mm.
and Keanu always does. I love it when he does it. Whenever he's thinking, he just kind of looks blankly into the distance for about 5 seconds, and then
Yeah.
goes, and then you can almost hear the switch going click. He's like, "Oh no, it's going to take an hour." Like, oh, okay, cool. So So Bijan and Chloe aren't having any of it.
No, they
And
need to find a way out.
They need to find a way out. So she's like, is there any of those, tube things? And he's like, oh yeah, there's one of them down the road. You probably passed it in your car as you were driving past, or a few times when you walked around the square today. And so he picks up their kind of travel bag, but not their drugs, which I thought was a strange thing. I'd have thought...
no time. She wanted him to, though. But
Well, she said to him, didn't she? She said, have you got everything?
Mm.
Emphasis on the everything. And he's like, yeah, come on, let's go. And off they went on the run.
well, she cares about the drugs more than the baby.
It reminded me a little bit when they were kind of running past the archers, and they saw the police kind of like, patrolling. So they quickly turned around and ran off the other way. It reminded me a little bit of when Stacey and the live episode, when they were kind of right at the end, when they were kind of running, Bradley and Stacey, and they were running back and forth. And every time they went around a corner, there was a police. I know I always reference that live episode, but I have to. Oh.
I mean, the couple, obviously, we know they went off to the car lot because they saw no exit.
Yes, so they couldn't take I presume the one and only route to the tube station.
Well, there was
Perhaps-
police everywhere,
Perhaps
wasn't
the
there?
police
That's
were
why.
patrolling, yeah. So that
was their last ditch attempt.
Well,
was
quite
to hide
intelligently.
themselves in a cabin.
where they hide themselves in a cabin, but also where there's lots of cars. So they knew that they would be able to get a car eventually. So I say they, Bijan presumably smacked Max round the face.
Well, wait. Before we go any further, we are going to continue this story after this segment because there's a new character arrived this week who hasn't been... Not many people might not know who she is or hasn't been seen for a while.
Absolutely.
So we thought we'd do a little bit of a character recap.
Well, that's right. So on instances in future, just to keep you in the loop.
It'll never happen again now.
No, it probably won't. We are going to change the midway section for updating you with the character upon their return. And we're calling this section, This Is Your Life. So I've got my red book, and I'm hiding behind a wobbly wall, and as I step forward and I announce that we are saying, Rainie, Branning, Naycross, this is your life.
I'm too young to get these references. But carry on.
This is all me. I'm sorry about this. Just to remind you, just doing this now, we'll be back next week. But as I say, in honour of new past characters, we're doing this section, which is This Is Your Life. Now, this will hopefully help you with filling in the gaps in your minds for any future storylines that may develop with the characters. This part of the show is sponsored by Studio Headphones, who Brit, Podscene and EastEnders Weekly have teamed up with to offer you an exclusive deal on their website. Professionally crafted headphones with handmade details and Swedish design, we recently received a pair and the sound quality is remarkable. Check them out on their website, www.studio.com/gb. That's studio spelt SUDIO. They start from £25 a pair for a Devore set. Now, we got a set of Regent, and the outside noise cancellation was perfect for when we went to the gym, but also when we were commuting to work and catching up on our favourite podcast. I wonder what that could be. If you find a pair you like on studio.com/gb, go to checkout and put in the discount code WEEKLY for 15% off the price. Right, So I've left Rainie in the wings for long enough. It's time for us to get out the champagne and then put it away again because she cleaned up her act. Now, delving into the past of Rainie, the self-pitying and selfish, manipulative and thorn-on-the-side sister and mum. But what we can only guess would be the future that is being held for her. The only way we can do this, though, Ben, is by looking into the past.
Fill me in, because I have a big blank space.
You have a big blank.
Of Rainie.
Fill me in, I have a big blank. Sister to Tanya Branning, ex-wife of Max, Rainie was first introduced to us in 2007. Already established as an addict to heroin, her sister gave her an ultimatum. Stay and get help or take £500 and leave. She took the £500 and left.
Of course.
But she returned, claiming she had cleaned up her act and gave the money back to Tanya.
Every time she returns, does she clean up her act? That's twice so far. 2 out of 2. Carry on.
After testing positive to cannabis, Tanya told Rainie to leave, but she returned again in 2010.
Has she cleaned up her act?
After claiming to have cleaned up her act. But later stole money from Carol Jackson's handbag to buy crack cocaine and involved Phil for a binge with more drugs, bought by Phil with money he stole from the Queen Vic.
Ooh.
Now, I couldn't get solid information about this, and I did look on YouTube and and I'm sure there's a scene where when they're doing the drugs, I'm sure this is the scene where Peggy walks in and she sees him passed out on the floor, Phil passed out on the floor, and he's wet himself, and she's like, "Ugh, you're not my son." But
Did Phil do crack cocaine? Cool.
Phil's done it all. He has. He don't care.
He cleaned up his act.
Well, yeah, and then bought a bottle of vodka from under the counter with honey. Bit of vodka. Shirley discovered that Phil was doing crack cocaine and threatened Rainie to leave, calling her pathetic. Ooh, that's not really very strong for Shirley, is it?
No, she's much more wild now.
I know, we've heard stronger than that in the past. When Rainie returned for the 4th time in 2011 with her mum Cora, she again seemed to have cleaned up her act.
Well, I'm seeing a pattern here.
And bonded with Phil at R&R's. Whatever happened to R&R's?
It's got turned into the Phoenix.
However, Phil did not want to be associated with her and upset her. So she got drunk with Jack Branning and later went back to his for sex whilst he was married to Ronnie Mitchell. So Jack Branning's not the angel we all think he is. After winding Ronnie up afterwards, she found her own knickers at the flat that Ronnie shared with Jack and fell off the wagon and started trying to buy drugs again. But Phil caught her and stops Rainie before she goes any further. Temptation sadly got the better of her and she ended up buying from Ryan, Whitney's brother.
Oh, lovely Ryan.
Well, is he lovely?
Yes. He is now. He's cleaned up his act.
He's cleaned up his act. Well, he's gone to prison, didn't he?
Yeah, but he's out of prison now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's got a girlfriend and a family now because Whitney nearly moved in with him.
Oh, yes, to start her t-shirt business.
Yeah, that was when Whitney kept trying to leave 5 times.
Yeah. And she bought herself a little house with mysterious
really
money. Yeah, really cheap. And
but
a
anyway,
shop.
This isn't about Ryan.
Or Whitney.
No.
Dot Branning, or Dot Cotton, took pity on Rainie and compared her to Donna Ludlow, who was also a drug addict, isolated and shunned by everyone. Dot gives Rainie the Bible, and she decides to strengthen her faith and become sober for the first time. She gets a job with Janine Butcher and stops Phil from buying alcohol, which leads them to kiss, which Pat Butcher witnesses and is close to telling Phil's then-girlfriend Shirley Carter. After rough sleeping from...
So funny is hearing Shirley Carter and girlfriend in the same sentence. It doesn't seem to go well, girlfriend for Shirley. I don't know why.
I forget the guy's name now, but the first it was her ex-husband. She had Dean with...
Buster.
No, not Buster. Oh, no, you later discover it might have been... But no, before him, this is right when she first died. It's the guy who's in the Blur video, Park Life.
No.
I never remember his name. But anyway,
No idea.
he died because he went a bit crazy and started driving a car erratically and then had a car crash. So yeah, Shirley hasn't had a lot of luck with men.
No.
Well, Buster ended up fancying Carol, didn't he?
Kathy.
No, Carol. It was Carol Jackson. Remember, because because she was on a motorcycle and he
He had an affair with Kathy.
No, it was Carol. Look it up
Was
right
it?
now. Look it up right now.
Carry on with your thing.
I will carry on, and then I will explain to you how he grovels to me in a second. So, which leads them to kiss. After sleeping rough from being thrown out of Tanya's house for wishing that cancer would kill her, she meets Max's other brother, Derek, and they start a relationship. So she's basically had sex with all the Brannings.
Everyone.
Apart from Jim.
Well, it's like Jack. He's done it with all the Mitchells, so...
That's true. They get around in that square. After Cora forgives Tanya for helping her husband and Rainie, and Tanya's father die when he had cancer, she leaves the square when Cora says she is ashamed to be her mother. When Tanya remarries Max, she invites Rainie to the ceremony, but she refuses, insisting that she's pleased to be invited, but Cora was her issue for her drug and drinking problems in the past. Rainie returned during the Who Killed Lucy Bill storyline when she blackmailed Ian Bill to reveal that he had slept with her the night of Lucy's murder, when at the time
I remember that.
When he was engaged to Denise Fox.
Just a little sidebar back to our argument.
Go on.
Kathy did have an affair with Buster. It was Kathy.
Yes, but he also had a thing for
Carol.
Well,
we're both right then.
Okay, that's good. That's the best outcome, I feel. Everyone's happy. Quickly going back to what I said, we're kind of going off subject badly. Where Ian, during the Who Killed Lucy Bill storyline, kind of used the death of his daughter to keep Denise, didn't he? On just another off note, do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. She threatened to tell Denise and Peter Bill, but eventually tells Patrick Truman, which causes him to have a stroke when he discovers the news.
Was that at the same time?
Yeah, that was
seems
it.
Like ages ago.
It was quite a while ago.
Yeah, but longer than that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, she's interacted with pretty much all the characters, hasn't she?
She has. I mean, Patrick's stroke was almost a miracle, his recovery, because for months he was like pretty much just incoherent, and then one day he was just
they did slowly get him.
Oh, no,
they didn't do it like overnight.
No, it wasn't overnight, but I don't think.
Well, yeah, but it's so planned.
True. Cora confronts Rainie one last time about how she is now a prostitute and how low she has fallen. She gives her money to help her and somewhere to stay. But when Cora returns to her flat, she notices that her money has been taken and Rainie has left without a goodbye. But now she has returned. But will it be for the long haul? Mm-hmm. So there you go. So that's the history. That's Rainie's life. I mean, let's go back then to what's happened this week. So Rainie's return kind of coincided.
How did she return?
Well, it coincided with Max's return. So Max's return was on St. George's Day when he did a pop-up barbecue, was it? Kind of like he was giving away.
Really weird.
Well, he was giving away free chips and pie. But hid in the cabin the whole time.
And had like bikini girls.
Oh, yes. Yes. Robbie made a joke about the bikini girls, the Formula One.
He did, yes. Very topical.
Very topical. But yeah, so the whole time when this was happening, there was this big banner saying Happy St. George's Day. No one really knew what was happening, but they knew there was free food, so they went anyway. There was disco music. There was dancing music there. Although Denise chose and declined not to be there for that dancing party, as did Kim.
She couldn't do it.
Well,
She was out of energy.
She
Big Mo was having a good time, though.
Big Mo was having a whale of a time. So was Masood, actually. Just before any of the upset had happened. And so Ian turns off the music and he makes this bold claim that, like St. George, he's Slater the Dragon. And everyone boos him. And then out from the cabin, hiding the whole time, twitching the blinds, just making sure there's a big enough crowd. There he is, head shined, and he was out the door. There was Max Branning, so he's made his big return.
I mean, this big return storyline, because the next episode, the whole episode was building up to Max getting married, and you don't know who the bride is. It's acted like he's been gone for like 2 years, but it's been like 4 weeks.
I know,
it's really weird.
Yeah, it's been, and they're almost playing the same cards again, because the last time he returned, he made out that he was being like super nice to everyone, and he didn't hold any grudges with anyone, and he wanted to be everyone's friend, and that's again he was trying to play that game again. And but this time, obviously, people quite wisely aren't falling for it. They realise that what he's doing is probably another act, another game. But the one person who is starting to get sucked in is good old reliable Jack Branning. And I get it's his brother, but he's the only one who's kind of
I know.
slowly.
Has he forgotten that Max tried to get rid of his son?
Well, yeah, he's slowly trying to
Odd.
extend this olive branch. So, as you quite rightly said, he's going around the square the following day, kind of convincing people to go
Come
to
his reception and stuff. Isn't
yeah,
it?
his wedding reception. And prior to this, he'd again Robbie. So Robbie's always there. He's like a yellow
I
rubber.
forgot they were related. But yeah, it's his nephew, isn't
his
it?
nephew. He's like a rubber duck bobbing around
Everyone's
on the water.
related in Wolford.
Everyone knows everyone. The Wolford family tree is just so many branches coming out, and he's basically the witness for the wedding ceremony at the town hall. I mean, if it's at the town hall, that's just something just sprung on my head. In my head. Wouldn't Denise have been there? Because she works for the
She's
council.
on lunch break.
Well, she's gone for a walk. Let's be honest.
Busy.
There's so many lunch breaks, and. So this mysterious woman, quite well filmed because you could kind of see the silhouette, but you couldn't really see who it was.
I couldn't work out who the bride was.
No, we gave it our best. And she turned up. Again, there was no leaks, or as far as I'm concerned, did you spot?
Well,
any
they
leaks?
announced that she was coming back, but they announced it like 8 months ago.
So it's you've forgotten that that's happened
because she came back for Abby's last episode.
Yes,
when they turned off
perhaps
the machine.
yeah.
But yeah, I forgot that she was coming back.
No. Well, I didn't.
Yeah, that was quite good.
I didn't know anything about. Like, I tend to keep out of the loop of this, like leaks, bits and pieces. But sometimes you spot something and you kind of whisper it in my ear, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's fair enough. Or yeah, I spot bits and pieces too. But on this occasion, again, nothing was. So EastEnders are getting back on their game a little bit here. They're kind of keeping things close to their cards, close to their chest. So she comes running down the aisle, and Max is like, oh. My nephew's got to get back to work.
Yeah. We'll have the short one.
We'll have the short version, because apparently that happens. So after the ceremony, Max drops off Robbie, who's already had a written warning, but goes back to work sweeping the square. And again, this week when I've been doing bits and pieces, sorry to go off subject, it just got into my head. Do you remember Gus?
Yes.
Yeah, he used to be the street.
He was another
Gus.
nothing character.
He was a mid card as well, wasn't he?
Like Robbie and Minty, they're all like the same.
Yeah.
Nothing. Gary, they're just nothing characters.
All the ones who have kind of the
Gus left with a girlfriend, and that was his leaving story.
Was that the end?
Yeah.
He was always kind of bullied by all the
Yeah.
bigger people. The bigger people.
He's like Keanu-ish.
He was a bit like
bit
Keanu.
dim, but
Well,
lovable.
Keanu's not
dim and
dim.
lovable.
No,
isn't he?
he's just a bit soft, isn't he? Not soft in a bad way. Soft in a kind of he's a.
He waited a whole night for a long wait. So,
yeah, no, I keep forgetting
dim.
about that.
Anyway,
Sorry. Yes.
so Max is having a very popular reception because he managed to convince Mel to host it at E20.
Well, Mel
'cause
said
no one else would have him.
Yeah, Mel said that she doesn't give it monkeys about what's happened in the past. All she cares about is making money. So she'll quite happily let him have the reception because he was basically paying for the whole free bar, wasn't he?
Yes.
So it was.
The word gets out for a free bar.
But as soon as the square hears there's a free bar, the usual suspects turn up. So Robbie turns up. Ian. The Slaters.
Sonia was there in the background.
Sonia was there, wasn't she? She was having a blue drink.
She wasn't babysitting for once.
No, she wasn't. Ingrid was busy probably
I know, yeah.
making up for a day off she had later in the week. And so all these people turn up, and I suppose, well, Sonia must be related to Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Niece.
Robbie is.
Niece, yeah.
Niece and nephew.
Niece and nephew.
Yeah, Jack was there. Ian
Jack was
turned up
there.
to laugh at him.
He was, yeah. I must admit, I liked Ian in this episode. I don't like Ian being all kind of big-headed and
No.
kind of chest out, a kind of think he's something special. But sometimes there's a time and a place and an occasion for it. And on this one, I thought it was quite rightly placed. I mean, Max quite obviously didn't like the fact that Ian was making jokes on his about him, and so he kind of very deadpan said, "Oh yeah, haha, very funny, Ian. Oh, your jokes just get better, don't they? Ha ha ha." And Ian bought a bottle of prosciutto. But it was meant to be a glass of champagne, and then he kind of
Mel
upgraded.
wouldn't let him have a champagne.
No, Max said, make
Max
that
didn't,
prosciutto.
yeah.
And
so he said, I'll have a bottle.
I'll have a
then.
bottle then. And then that was that.
And Kat ordered tequila for everyone.
Kat ordered tequila for everyone and a large glass, and then proceeded to pour all the tequila into the glass. Mel's face. This week, Mel's been very much a kind of reactive character, hasn't she? With Kat
judging
every time. Not judging. It's like when they were looking for the baby.
on the hunt for the baby. They
And-
came in and said to her, didn't they?
Well, Mo picked up that stick and started like walking around like a vigilante. See, this is where the baseball bat store would work.
Yeah.
And Mel kind of reacted to that as well, kind of like a what face. So he has this big party at E20 because Mick and Linda also refused to let him in to use the Vic. And down the stairs we find
the reveal of the
bride, which was Rainie.
Yeah, Tanya's sister.
So she's got through the trio, the hat trick of the Brannings, as I mentioned earlier.
Ended on Max.
Yeah.
So we then find out that they probably aren't as wealthy or as together as we thought, because they're both sleeping in sleeping bags in the car lot.
Yeah, so Rainie came back on Thursday's episode in the morning, and she got them a coffee, and they were obviously, like I say, sleeping in the car lot camper van. And
quite a good first episode for her, I thought.
And it really disappointed me. We'll get to it, but it really disappointed me the second episode, the Friday episode with her, because I thought they built her up to be such an interesting character on Thursday. So she came in, a woman who she ran out the bridal dress shop from, just so she had a bridal bride's dress for the
wedding
thing. So you started seeing her manipulative side a little bit. I mean, the cinematography, they didn't make any kind of hide any kind of fact that that she was being sneaky, because every time that she was being manipulative and a bit sneaky and a little bit crafty, the camera would slow zoom onto her face, because it happens on 3 occasions in that episode. And so
she's quite an intense actress.
She's
they were doing that because of that as well.
I mean, it's surprising it's taken this long to give Rainie. I don't know how long she's going to be in the soap for, so I shouldn't really presume. But it's surprising that it's taken this long to give her a plot
full-time return,
which looks like to be a full-time return. Yeah. So she convinces the wedding shop owner that the reason she ran out the shop was because Max had given her a phone call saying that her mother was very ill and she was very distressed, so she ran out the shop, not really realizing what she was doing. No harm done, says the bridal shop owner. Did you like the dress? Not really. We've brought the wedding forward. Goodbye. Slams the door behind her. But she does it in a much more manipulative way than I've just explained it. So then she starts going for a bit of a wander around the square while Max stays and starts the business up and starts doing the car lot back to normal. So they both have interactions with members of the square. So Rainie, when she gets to the cafe, Bridge Street Cafe,
she meets up with Carmel.
Carmel's kind of like hiding behind the door, isn't she? Kind of like looking
staring
over.
At her.
Like
another
almost,
redhead.
She's like the girl at school, like sees the new girl join the school, and it's like, who are you? She said, is it true? And she's like, what's true? You married Max? And she's like, oh, here we go. So the rumour mill started. Or the whisper mill, she called it, didn't she, or something? And so she's like, not flustered at all. She's like, come on, we're gonna go and have a coffee together and we're going to talk about it. And then
she straight on it, didn't she?
And with Kathy listening on in the background, pretending to be cleaning a table, Rainie starts manipulating Carmel slightly, kind of making.
She starts talking about religion as well, doesn't she? It's really
she
weird.
does, which has interested me, because I didn't realise that there was a kind of link to a religion until I was researching her for this week for the This Is Your Life segment. She's got a, so she must know verses. I'm presuming this is something she's going to maybe start using again in the future to show that
she's gone a bit nutty.
No.
Or is she actually religious?
I don't think she's religious. I think she's used religion, though, in the past to get what she wants by convincing people. Because if you're going to convince someone that you're a good person, sometimes religion is one way of portraying it. So she's manipulating Carmel. Slow zoom onto Rainie's face as she's doing it.
Slow zooms are always when she has like a really long dialogue piece as well.
It's very intense. Kathy's listening in the background, cleaning the table, kind of looking confused and a bit worried and scared herself. And she basically says, get Carmel another coffee. I don't want her to be a threat. And
bacon because she doesn't want it to be thin.
Yeah, she doesn't want it to be thin. And Carmel's like, "Oh, you've got nothing to worry about. I don't want to go back to Max." And it's almost like she was like, "Good, just make sure it's that way." And it's like, "Ooh, okay." So whilst that's happening, Sharon goes and wanders off to Max, and basically
Phil won't be happy.
Yeah,
when he comes back from his holiday.
Yeah,
he's going to tell him. So that's Sharon's biggest worry of the day.
So after their interactions with one another, Rainie goes back to the porter cabin, and this is where everything neatly ties back up together again.
Yes, back with the kidnapping, isn't it?
Yes.
So they've beaten up Max or punched him in the nose.
I think it's just the one knock on the nose by the looks of things.
And even though there's police like 10 meters away, Max and Rainie are sort of held to ransom inside the cabin like a horror film. All they had to do is scream out and the police would be there in like 10 seconds.
I mean, Bajan kept...
they didn't have any weapons or anything.
Yeah, but you didn't know that. He could have had a concealed weapon, and he basically kept threatening Max with with threats of death and bits and pieces like that. And you could see that Chloe was also very injured and very she was withdrawn, wasn't she? Because she obviously hadn't had any drugs for
left it in the car
long enough. No. So
Rainie's manipulation
well, so Bajan kind of insists that they need to give him a car, and they give him a nice little Renault. And was it a Renault?
Something like that. And Max said it's the only one full of petrol.
Yes, which he's a liar, isn't he? Which you later find out. And so he goes off and hides in the sense that he's not really hidden, kind of ducking
down in the car.
Yeah, ducks down behind the steering wheel.
And then Rainie offers her like
some advice.
She's shaking.
Yeah, so she offers him some Codamol.
Codamol,
yeah. So that was the first hint also that we learned, that Rainie was obviously still on the wagon, as it were. She was trying to
using something.
Yeah, so she was trying to withdraw from it with the Codamol. Perhaps she was doing it with help, or perhaps she wasn't. But with the fact that she said she had Codamol, you kind of got the impression that she was still doing it with help, or she was trying to get off it with help, and offers it to Chloe, and Chloe reluctantly accepts it because she knows that's all she can get. And then Rainie starts having a conversation with her and starts talking to her about, what's the outcome here? Do you love
more important?
Exactly. Do you love your baby more than you love the drugs? With
giving up the baby, going off,
and then going off without it. This didn't please Bajan very much, and he was pretty angry. Kind of smacked Chloe a little bit in the car, and then Max then said, "Oi, oi, oi!" At first, you thinking that he was telling him off for smacking his fiance or his wife, but then he's like, "They're here!" And so he's so silly. It was a bit daft. It was a bit
like they were having a go at Max. Why'd you let him get away? And then she came out with a baby in her arms.
Yeah,
and then there was like weird cheering,
it was
clapping from like 5 people, yeah. But it sounded like a whole audience.
I know, it's what
and
they do, isn't
this
it?
Max's redemption then? Is that make him?
Well, I mean, he's I don't think anyone's forgiven him other than Arshad and Masood perhaps, and obviously Mariam when she comes home from her little jaunt. But so Arshad does at the end of the episode go over to the car lot.
He thanks him, doesn't he?
He thanks him and Rainie, and shakes his hand, opens the door to Rainie. She's, oh, how polite. And they kind of get in the car and drive off. So I guess but then I mean, I don't think Max's or Rainie's head that they thought the ultimate goal for that was that they were going to get people on their side. I think that was just a happy coincidence that should have happened. I say a happy coincidence, a horrible coincidence that on the day that's actually happened to them.
But obviously Rainie was talking about this baby's welfare. We then get a scene of them visiting a little baby Abby in hospital, saying that they're going to try and get full custody from her. So we got to see baby Abby back.
Yes.
Abby lives on.
Yes, and apparently poor old baby Abby is in social services. I think so you find out that they're trying to...
Cora once
they're fighting for custody, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it's between Cora and Max and Rainie.
So that's obviously where their shotgun wedding has come from.
Yes, so on Friday, really, you start to see their plan slowly unravel before your eyes of why they were doing all this. So Max was trying to organise getting a house. So when a social
His plan is just doomed from the start. Really.
well, it was a bit daft, wasn't it? So he convinced.
Surely you have to have proof that you live somewhere.
Yeah.
If you're going to adopt. Anyway.
Well, he convinced Jack to leave his house so he could go off and
Visit a potential property.
visit. Yes,
'Cause he's so rich.
Well, he's a landowner now, isn't he? He owns all kinds of bits and pieces, and so they pretend that Jack's house, or well, it's not Jack's house, is it? Well, it never used to be. It used to be
Because Ronnie's now dead. So it is Jack's
Yes,
house.
I know. Where
was Ingrid? That's what I want to know.
Well, Ingrid had the day off.
Oh.
Remember they asked? He said,
But we didn't see her.
No, Max said, is Ingrid
Poor
in today?
Ingrid.
And she said, no.
She hasn't been seen for weeks.
Well, she won't be seen for longer than that soon. And so basically they have the council man come over to the house.
To check the house and have a little interview, see what they'd be like as parents.
Yeah, she offers him a few biscuits and a cup of tea.
She gets a bit carried away, doesn't she? She's not as calm and cool-headed.
Yes, so she's not so collected this episode.
Yeah.
So as I say, so you start to see a little bit of a different Rainie this time around, where she's not, as you say, as confident. She's showing a bit of a mad side, and she's not quite as calculated as she first was the day before. And this is obviously worrying Max a little bit, because you find out that this is a marriage convenience for Max.
A business deal.
Yeah, for Max to get his own way.
Now, do you think Rainie is double-crossing Max to get baby Abby?
Oh no, I don't think. I mean, on Thursday you could clearly see that she was.
I think maybe she wants a kid. I don't know. Is she gonna?
She was proper. Like, you could tell that she loved holding baby Abby, and she was almost besotted by this child. You know, on Friday you found out that she's being paid by Max. Again, I don't know.
She must have a plan up her.
I mean, how's Max paying her though? Because how's Max
doesn't
got
have any
this
money, does he?
Max has got no money.
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, is he going to sell enough cars so he can just pay Rainie off? So, you know, his ultimate plan is he wants to get baby Abby. I don't know what he wants to do once he gets baby Abby. Is he going to stay on the square, or is it something that's...
I want to know what she's up to. She must have some... Like, every time Rainie's been on this, it had a storyline. It's always been a bit of a crazy one. So.
I mean, she's an addict, so every time it's a story about Rainie, it's going to be something drug or alcohol or both related. As I said on Friday's episode, she unravels, and she starts hitting Max round the... Does she hit Max?
Yeah, she slaps Max.
She slaps Max.
When she did that, and before you thought that's before you were told it's like a business deal marriage. I was wondering if they were going to do like a domestic abuse, but the other way around, because Max had been like self-harming before.
Oh right,
and
so
I was wondering
Rainie...
if they were going to have like Rainie be the abusive one to Max in a marriage.
I mean, we now know that
Obviously
Rainie, we now know that their marriage is a sham.
Yeah.
So
But
that,
for a split second, I thought, oh, is that where they're heading?
I mean,
this?
I believed naively, perhaps I believed their marriage to begin with. I couldn't really see. And when he first brought baby Abby into the equation on Thursday, I thought, oh, well, obviously they want to do this together. Their plan is to do this together. But it makes perfect sense now. Of course, it makes perfect sense now that Max is, as always, manipulating someone to get at the end of it. I mean, Stacey's always the one who can see through Max, but then always ends up getting manipulated.
with it.
Yeah, exactly. Getting
You've
played
had so
the
much
worst.
Max like the past year and a half.
He's been a very intense character,
Like,
hasn't
now
he?
he's back again with like another huge
Big story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
I mean, I can't see this one running too far, though, if he's trying to get custody of a child.
Yeah,
You can't do that for too long. I think, as you say, ultimately it's going to be a story between him and Rainie, and how their relationship is going to be almost damaging for either one or the other, or each other. On Thursday episode, she was using her strength to try to get Max a little bit, or get herself over by the public, and he was using his strength perhaps to get her to kind of be good enough to be able to try to adopt baby Abby. So I think at the end of Friday's episode, you really saw the bare bones of what them two are going to be about.
I mean, there's a few other things that we still need to talk about. So we talk about a bit of a more light-hearted teenage girl character.
Hashtag Tiff.
Yeah. Hashtag Tiffany's getting a bit busy this week as well, isn't she? She keeps getting threatened that she's going to be sent home.
Yeah, so
by Bianca on the phone.
Yeah, Bianca's phoning Whitney and saying that she, it's been long enough now. I think it's about time she comes back home. It kind of stemmed from, first of all, Tiff having the argument in the square after she took a picture of, and brilliant line, Munter and Lou Roll getting jiggy with it at the Mitchell household, and she posted it on her Instagram account. When we saw her Instagram name, we quickly looked it up, didn't we, on Instagram, and we thought, oh, perhaps BBC have been a bit clever here.
Someone just opened it.
Someone had just opened the account, and it had so many followers so quickly.
Yeah, 400, and it hadn't even. Yeah, it's just been made.
I think it's E20_Tiff. If anyone's
like
interested, but I think
that was a funny scene with Sharon and Whitney and Tiffany and Louise.
Yes, in the square,
big argument.
Having this big argument, and Tiffany, because it started off with I don't know, shouting in the street, so unladylike. I don't know how. I don't know who taught you that to do something like that. And then Sharon and Whitney start having the argument, and Tiffany turns it right on its head and starts saying, "I don't know how. I don't know where you learnt that from." Yeah. And it's fantastic. I really love.
She's
Tiff.
like the voice of the audience, isn't she, Tiff? She says the things that everyone's thinking while they're watching it.
Well, because she's always posting, like a teenage girls always do, but because she's always posting on social media, she's always on her phone taking photographs or looking through like what she can see on her mobile phone. She's almost like watching from the outside in, and so she always feels. So she said it herself later that she feels like she's an outsider. All these followers that she has on Instagram, on his social media, they're fake. They're not real followers. When she lived in Milton Keynes with Bianca, she had no real friends, and so she used coming to London, Albert Square, Walford, as a fresh start, and she became friends with Bernie. And it is nice that Bernie's got a character.
I like them two together.
It's a real nice dynamic between them two, actually. And
because when she was talking about her followers, and that was the scene with Keegan, wasn't it?
So and it was the first
Hinting
serious scene.
towards,
It was the first serious scene with Keegan and Tiff, and she's. She keeps telling him to go away, and he's turning around. He's like, "Oh no, come back! I want to talk to you." And she does it about 3 times, and in the end,
he tries to hold her hand, doesn't he? And she
to comfort her,
no,
because Keegan is again, which we saw a few weeks ago when his dad came back, and he had that argument with his mum Karen. You're noticing that Keegan is slowly starting to get a bit more human, maybe, but being a bit more open to relationships and being friendly with one another. And so he helps Bernie because Bernie starts to learn that Tiffany is
sent home,
going back to Milton Keynes. So Bernie decides to go to
help her friend out.
Well, yeah. So she goes to the Slaters' house, and they say, "Oh, well, Whitney's off, but she's going to start working." Doing her shift at the pub today. So then she stands outside, and there's that great shot where the camera is like looking down upwards, and she's wearing her unicorn onesie, and she's got that unicorn
protesting.
Yeah, and she stood there with her arms folded, stood in front of the Queen Vic, like, this is a protest. This is a formal protest. And so she's doing it for her friend. So Tiff
helped her out.
So Tiff helped her out. She's helping her. So there's a true friendship, and it was sweet to see this week that Tiff has these insecurities that she's happy to open out and be open to others with. But then there was a little bit of foreshadowing in the end where Tiff comes and tells...
they were in the bedroom, weren't they, and said, "Oh, I am staying after all. It must have been your protest that convinced Whitney."
But yes, and then Tiff...
And they sort of hug and say, "Oh, nothing will come between us." And then she gets a little look to Keegan. Who
just mind his own business, playing on his mobile phone and doesn't really give a damn.
So what will come between them?
Well, I think we know what's going to come between them. So that's the storyline starting out.
So should we have a little chat about a long-distance relationship of Whitney and Halfway?
What, the booty call?
Yes,
well.
Because it was all very strange, because she was on the a webcam to him, and she was getting a bit saucy, and she wanted to take off her dressing gown and all sorts for Halfway.
Well, he said he wished he was in that dressing gown.
But when it started happening, he seemed to, get a bit Was he shy, embarrassed? I don't know.
No, I think he was well up for it.
Oh, I didn't think he was.
Oh, God,
I think
big time.
that's why he didn't then answer the second phone call. I think something's going on.
Well, no, I think it's unfair to. I think that's what they want you to think, that that it was a bit too intense for Halfway to kind of be in that situation. But no, his eyes were practically falling out of his skull, and his mouth had fallen to the floor when she was suggesting that she was going to show him his.
I don't know. I think there's going to be because obviously he's coming back full time next week. I think there's going to be some sort of storyline with him about his like intimacy issues or something. I think something like that. Yeah.
No, I don't. I think he would have been up for it big time. It's just that unfortunately Tiff came storming in through the door because she wasn't wearing the right uniform for school, was she? She was like, "What's wrong with my uniform?" And she had her shirt tied up. But no, definitely no. Whitney. Halfway wants what Whitney's willing to give.
I mean, they've said that Whitney's coming, not Whitney. Halfway is coming back with like a big secret. What do you think this big secret is? Any ideas for next week?
That he's married or something stupid like that. Or it would be something ridiculous and something that he could easily be written out without too much of a care. It will be a little bit of like a storyline that lasts a week and then is soon forgotten again, but then brought back up again when they're having a big argument in about 4 months' time because their relationship isn't working out quite the way it is. I mean, we know that Halfway's brother is on the way, and
apparently his brother is the more confident one and Halfway's the more shy one.
I mean, this is slowly turning back into the whole Lee storyline, isn't it? A bit, which is worrying me. I mean, you said it before. Whitney has a type, and she seems to copy and paste every time.
Although I'm all for Halfway's return. So
Halfway's great, and I'm so glad that it's his return is clearly on popular appeal that people.
Because he was only meant
back.
to be in it like a few episodes, and
his contract was only meant to be 2 months, wasn't it, or something?
And they said because of popular demand, he's back.
Yeah, no, he's fantastic, and I can't wait to see a storyline. And as I say, I think they're only doing this kind of like Halfway has a secret just so he comes in with a little bit of impact. But I don't think it'll be something that will be damaging to him or Whitney or their relationship.
Well, we'll see next week, won't we?
Yeah, we'll see. So because of time, I'm just going to sum up 2 other things that happened very quickly. The Slaters got a cleaning job at E20 and the Alberts and the Queen Vic
both at the same time. 9
o'clock start. Be there or be square, sharp. Be there or be Albert Square. Because Kat manipulated Mel and...
Yes, for a bottle of gin.
Well, it was Mel and Linda manipulated one another to play them off one another to get the jobs. So that's good. They've got jobs now. Let's see how their escapades turn out next week. And Masood got played by Ian just before the kidnap because Ian and Masood have got the
ongoing rivalry,
even though they got the funding so they can now work together because Ian's got bigger and brighter ideas for Masood's Samosa business. Samosa business. #Samosa.
And he wanted an interview with the Wolford Gazette, but Max stole that thunder, didn't he?
Well, he did with his St. George's Parade because it's a new hot thing at the moment. It's pop-up.
Ian lost, even though he was trying to.
I think we all lost. I think we all lost on this occasion, didn't we? I think we all lost out on that one. And sorry, just reminded, samosas was cooked for Tiffany as a way of saying apologies.
Again, saying what the audience is feeling is, I don't want anything to do with that.
Exactly. So there you go. So she told us what we thought. Wonderful.
Yeah, so that's all the storylines of the week. So did you want to go on to play a little game?
Oh, it's your turn this week. Well, it's my turn to play. It's your turn to give, isn't it?
Yes. Hopefully.
I'll receive and you give, Ben.
This goes better than the last few times. It's Slater Family Values. Right, so are you ready to have your mind blown?
God, no, I'm not. This is so hard.
It is really difficult. So I have extended the time this week.
Oh.
So you have a whole minute.
That's twice the time.
I know.
That's
well,
fantastic.
Last week I gave you 45 seconds by accident.
Yes. And the week
I'm not very good at timing.
And the week before that, we couldn't work out how many steps we were meant to be saying.
No.
We were just saying before we started the podcast that we've played this game now 3 times, and every time...
Well, I've got it all written down now, so it's the exact same as last week.
I'm
so
excited.
Just to remind you,
Go.
What you have to do is connect 2 characters from EastEnders, past or present, together in 6 steps. So this can be a relation between family, friendships, workplace, relationships, blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
Married, divorced, sister of,
Snog, married, avoid.
brother of, murdered someone of someone. But it must be done in 6 steps.
Right. Okay.
So your people this week are...
Do it.
Please connect Sonia Fowler, who we love, to Donna Hubbard.
Okay, can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Can I use in the chain people who are no longer in the soap and or deceased?
Yes, you can use characters past or present.
Okay, cool.
Murdered or buried.
Alive.
So, in 1 minute. You ready?
I'm ready.
Go.
Okay, so starting. Sonia Fowler is the daughter-in-law of Pauline Fowler. Pauline Fowler is the wife of Arthur Fowler. Hang on, I've got to write this down. Arthur Fowler is the father of Martin Fowler. I'm sticking to the Fowlers. Martin Fowler is the cousin of Ian Bill.
30 seconds.
Ian Bill has a... Ian Bill employs Masood in the chip shop,
Mm-hmm.
and Masood once had a market stall selling curries, which was opposite Donna Hubbard's clothing store. Which it's true because
That is
it was
all true, but that's too many steps.
No, it's not.
One
That's,
too many.
No, it's not. That's 6 steps.
Your 1 minute is up. Right.
Right.
Do your steps again.
Oh, I can't remember now.
Oh, for
So
God's sake.
Sonia Fowler. So that's the start. Then first step. Sonia Fowler is the daughter-in-law of Pauline Fowler. That's 1. Then Pauline Fowler is married to, or was married to, racking around the head, Arthur Fowler with a biscuit tin. That's 2. He's the dad of Martin Fowler. 3. He's the cousin of Ian Bill. 4. Ian Bill employed Masood in the chip shop. 5. Masood had a market stall opposite
opposite
Donna Hubbard.
Okay.
6.
Just now you did it in 7. So you did it.
Winner.
Very convoluted your way round.
But it got there.
It was a difficult one. Did you want to hear what my one was that I had written down?
I don't think there's any need.
Fine.
No, I'm joking. I do want to hear it. Go on.
Okay, so we have Sonia, who was married to Martin.
Right.
So
I thought that was too obvious.
I'm ahead of you by like 3 steps.
You're much more direct.
Martin is married to Stacey.
Right.
Stacey had an affair with Kush.
Yes.
Kush dates Denise.
But
Denise
engaged to Denise.
Oh, okay. Denise's brother-in-law is Vincent. Vincent is Donna's adopted sister.
Yours is more modern. Mine was looking into the past. But that was good.
Well,
I think
everyone's related somehow on the square. So
I think we should both agree that we both did very well there.
Yes, on Slater Family Values.
Oh,
well, that went as well as usual.
Well, no, I think it went better. That was like one of the better attempts of us playing that game, and we finally have a clear set of rules.
Yes,
I mean,
it all works.
You know the games we play. If anyone's a regular listener of the show, you know the games we play now. If you have any questions for the games, so you know how the rules of Slater Family Values works.
Yes. Well, we made a YouTube video of last week's Slater Family Values.
Yeah.
So if you want to comment and make your own 6 steps, go
Oh,
ahead.
yes, make your own 6 steps. Or if you have your own one that you'd like to give us to play, I mean, Ben will see it so he can keep it hidden from me. Or if, there's other games, Martin Fowler's 5 a day, you can always tweet us with the ones. But just we'll give you the details in a minute anyway. So talking of Twitter, obviously every week we do a poll of the week, and sticking to the whole Soap Awards theme, because that's slowly looming, showing its ugly head our way.
It is soon.
We're hoping to do a couple of bits and pieces with that as well. We had a poll which was which male actor from EastEnders would get your vote for this year's Best Actor at the British Soap Awards. Again, we did the 3 that are up in the long list. There was Steve McFadden, who plays Phil, Richard Blackwood, who plays... I know it's Vincent, by the way, but you can't fit Vincent. They can only have so many letters on the...
what have you put?
I put Vince.
Vince, that's all right.
Oh, I know, but... And Danny Dyer, who plays Mick. Now, who would get your vote? Who makes your heart flutter?
I'll go with Vincent. He's left.
Yeah, he's left. But also,
and I think Phil won like a big achievement last year, didn't he? Or something.
What, for
Steve McFadden?
being in it for so long?
I think so. Yeah.
I always think that's a bit of a cop-out. It's like
Danny Dyer's already won it once. So
has he?
Yeah, he won it like...
Oh, you'll be surprised by these reactions. This shock vote.
He won it like a few years ago.
I mean, I agree with you. I'd say Richard Blackwood. I think he's had a really strong year this year, and so he deservedly would at least get to the shortlist.
A really strong year, so he got axed.
No, well, yes. Well,
curses.
That's for another discussion. So, number one was Richard Blackwood, who got 50% of the vote. Steve McFadden came second with 35% of the vote. Danny Dyer, lonely third at 15%.
Nick's not been...
I mean, he's not had much of a story, and yeah, exactly. And up until recently, he's not really done a lot that's kind of appealed, I think, to an audience. So I think if we would do this time next year, if we're still doing this, I think that you'll find that Danny Dyer will be much better. So I say if we're still doing this.
You've got something to tell us.
Well, Ben, I'm leaving to...
You're going to go to Emmerdale. Hollyoaks?
I'm doing Neighbours now.
No.
But so I think this time next year, if Danny Dyer is on the long list again, I think he'd be much more likely to get further up because Richard Blackwood's not in it anymore, for one.
No.
There you go. I mean, as I say, there's loads of ways of getting in touch with us and communicating. We have a YouTube channel where we post videos as often as we can. We try to do one a week, be it a sample of the podcast, so you can just dip your toe in and have a listen, or sometimes it's original content. This week, we asked who we believed were the 5 male characters
who should come back.
Yeah, who should come back. And we've had a few replies about that from people, and it's been really interesting. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk about it next week, about some of the replies.
Yes, we have got some questions, but we haven't managed to do it again this week because we're too busy.
We're just talking.
We're talking too much.
We're talking too much. I mean, we've
got a backlog, so it's fine. We can get through them.
When EastEnders has a slow week, we'll be able to get through some questions.
Yes.
But yeah, check out. Just do a search for EastEnders Weekly on YouTube, and you can find us on there. We're also on Twitter at EastEnders Week, as we have a poll every week. You can also get in touch with us. We live tweet every episode of EastEnders as it's aired on BBC One. And again, we appreciate your messages to our email as well, which is eastendersweekly@gmail.com. Get in touch with us. Let us know what you think. Let us know what we could do better, what you like, what you don't like. We enjoy getting your messages, and we really do.
Nice. It's nice to know people are out there listening.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fantastic. Anyway, I hope you all have a great week.
You know that new cleaning company we had in to clean our house earlier?
Oh, yes, the one that we said that we'd pay them only 20%.
Yeah, well, I've noticed some of our gin's been taken. The theme to EastEnders Weekly was written and composed by Klaxon. He can be found on SoundCloud under KLAXUN. Thank you all for listening, and if you'd like to subscribe and leave a review, it would mean so much to us, as it really helps the word get out that we're around. If you have any topics or discussion you want us to talk about, you can email us at eastendersweekly@gmail.com or send us a tweet at EastendersWeek. We do live tweeting to every episode of EastEnders, so make sure you follow. See you soon.